back to Mad's World. Today I'm joined by gorgeous writer, journalist and disability advocate Zoe Simmons.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm a bit nervous.
Oh my God, you don't need to be nervous. I'm so nice. And you match the studio really well. So that was just box tick number one, right?
I dyed my hair for this.
Beautiful. You're so in theme. So you have written about sex and dating and disability in the past before. What has dating been like for you as someone who is disabled and autistic?
Oh my gosh, pretty terrible.
Really?
I mean, I honestly think, to be fair, I've only been looking on Tinder, so that's not really the best place. But oh my goodness, people are just terrible. A lot of the time they're so ableist, and even after you've been on dates with people, they can still be horrible and not recognizing the red flags and stuff. Gosh, the stories I could tell.
Oh my God, please tell. Do you have a funny date story? I love to open with this question as well.
Funny date story?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Or even just an unhinged one.
Oh, I don't know if this is appropriate to share, but I guess I did have a date once with a guy, and then afterwards we were hanging out with some friends, and he just started singing a cappella. Just randomly singing a cappella.
What?
His own song that he wrote.
Wait, what? As in Pitch Perfect type vibes?
No, just singing it. It wasn't. It was just. Yeah.
That's. Oh my. I don't like that. Would give me the ick so bad. I think.
We were all drinking and having fun and whatever, and then he just starts singing, and I'm sitting there trying not to laugh. And
oh, Jesus!
I don't want to be mean.
Was he good?
It was okay, I guess.
Oh
it was just
God.
the most awkward thing I've experienced, and I was just like, can you stop, guy?
Oh God, that's cooked. Your experiences have been bad. That's obviously really tough. What do you think, what do you wish more people knew about dating someone with a disability?
I think instantly people just think, oh, I can't date you or something, and there's just so much stigma and ableism that someone might not even look at a person using mobility aid or in a wheelchair like I usually am as someone that you could date, which is really weird. But people often think that disabled people are asexual and whatever, and it's some people are obviously, but not everyone.
Yeah. And then how I guess for everyone listening, are you comfortable explaining what your disability is?
Yeah. So I have a couple of conditions, chronic illnesses. I have fibromyalgia. I have likely endometriosis or adenomyosis. Can't get a diagnosis, of course. Also autistic, bipolar, anxiety, and I think I also have ME/CFS, although I can't get a diagnosis. I'm going to say it wrong, so sorry to anyone that knows how to say it right, but it's myalgic encephalomyelitis.
Oh, wow.
Something like that.
I've actually interviewed someone with fibromyalgia before on the podcast, years ago. And it sounds really rough, chronic pain and chronic fatigue and all of those really fun things. So
it sucks.
Yeah, that really does suck. How do you, when it comes to explaining that to someone that you are dating, how do you go about that? Do you just say it up front? Is it on your dating apps and stuff, or is it something that you chat about once you're, you get to know them?
So I know a lot of my friends don't put it on their dating apps, but I do. I have pictures of myself in my wheelchair, pictures of myself with a walking stick. I clearly say I'm autistic, disabled and chronically ill, just because I want to instantly remove anyone that might have any kind of ableist idea. I was dating someone for a while that had the worst opinions on disability ever, which was so horrible to hear from someone that allegedly cared about you.
What kind of opinions?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so there was one time that he told me it was immoral for me to use my wheelchair because I'm not paralyzed.
Right.
Ambulatory wheelchair users exist, right? A lot of people are actually ambulatory. And if it helps, you use them. So there's so much stigma against using them, and he'd constantly tell me to push through, and he once told me that I could be a Paralympian if I just had a can-do attitude.
What?
Yeah, sure.
No, that's crazy. I couldn't even be a Paralympian, and I'm not disabled. It's really hard.
Yeah, it's also hard. Oh my God, he just thinks I can just turn around and join the Paralympics. No, that's very hard. People spend their whole careers doing that.
Yeah, legit.
Just someone can't just join the Olympics tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's ableist as heck.
Yeah, and so it's good to get that out of the way away early and then you just kind of filter out all the assholes, I suppose.
Oh, hopefully, but that didn't stop me for dating one for many years.
Have you got a partner now?
No, thank God.
Okay,
I'm happily single with a cat.
Oh my God, what kind of cat?
She is a black and white cat, and she actually has a little beard. It's very cute.
I really want to get a kitten at the moment. I feel like I got ghosted this week by someone who I liked, so that was really rough. But I think like I'm at the point where I'm like, I go so up and down with dating. I'm like, can I be fucked doing this? I go on the apps. I'm like, get in the mood for it. And then I'm like, right, I'm just going to smash out a million matches and then just filter from there.
Yeah.
And now I'm at the point where I'm like, now I'm back in the can't be fucked mode. Like I actually just can't be fucked. It's just too hard and Siebes. You know what I mean?
And people are just shit.
Yeah. And I mean, and if you're like dealing with all this other stuff as well, it's just like
I don't have time for you. Go away.
100%. You obviously feel like you do get treated differently when it comes to dating and stuff. But what about like friendships and relationships? Like have you had experiences with that have been challenging or positive ones as well?
Yeah, it is actually really hard. I mean, some are positive, like for the people that in my life that have just loved and accepted me no matter what, like my mum. Thank you. Bless you. That means the world to me.
Angel.
I have the best mother. If you hear this, Mum, you probably won't, but but yeah, people are really terrible. And I've had people say things to me like, oh, well, no wonder you don't have any friends. It's because that's embarrassing when I used my walker, for example. And, you know, people saying things like, oh, you can't be that stupid, can you? When my brain fog is particularly bad and like, oh, adults need a basic level of intelligence and really horrible things like that from people that are supposed to care about you. And I think when you become disabled and chronically ill, a lot of people don't know how to deal with that. So
it's like people forget that anyone can become disabled. Like
at any time.
Even people like, you know, in positions of political power, like they could become disabled and they've taken away so much funding and rights from disabled people. It's like, it could just be you. Like people, they're just so quick to like dehumanize and stigmatize against people for like being different and having disabilities. But it's just, it could literally be any of us. Like it's just.
Yeah, don't get me started on the NDIS and politicians because it's so ridiculous. And
it's so tough.
Like when they become disabled, because time disables everybody, you know, I'm sure I hope they'll realise that, it's really shit. And
that's such a good quote though. Time disables everybody. That is so fucking true. And like people don't look at it that way. Because like I guess like what would you, because obviously you have a few different illnesses that you described earlier. What do you think do you have certain illnesses that you would say describe you as disabled, if that makes sense? Because like I have ADHD, but I personally wouldn't identify it as having a disability because it hasn't really impacted, well, it's impacted me negatively, but in different ways. Like, do you think that there's different, how would you go about describing that?
Well, I think a lot of people do feel uncomfortable with using the term disability. Like I definitely did when I started using the word disability, because I kind of felt like, oh, am I disabled enough? But if it disables you, you are allowed to call yourself disabled. There's no disabled police that's going to come around and be like, no, you can't call yourself that. And if they do, they're terrible people. They should be like, okay, let's support you. What are your access needs? Like, you're allowed to be disabled. You're allowed to need accessibility. If it makes your life easier, you should use these things. And it irks me because it benefits everybody, but we don't treat it like that. And it's treated like a nuisance for people that actually need accessibility, which is so frustrating.
Yeah. I guess when I was living in London, there's a lot of stations that have like tube stations that have step-free access, but I remember thinking like, God, it must be so bloody annoying to try and get to work and find a step. Like it's just so much longer. And I'm like, it's already so difficult to travel to work if you're battling a disability. But then like you said, what was it? Age disables everyone. And like, think of all of the people who are elderly and stuff that need step-free access, because honestly, it's like a million stairs going up and down in the tube and everything. And I always used to think like, that must be so rough and just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and a lot of people are afraid to talk about it or admit it, and we've got this narrative of just push through, which often harms you, so people don't feel like they can call themselves disabled or that they're not deserving of accessibility, but, you know, everyone is. And it doesn't matter the reason. And I do notice a lot of elderly people really reject disability and disability aids and like, oh, that's shameful. And like, what if we change those perspectives to say, hey, it's not shameful and you actually deserve accessibility, and let's like destigmatize this.
Do you think that the stigma comes from fear? Like, where do you think that it comes from? And how do we tackle it?
I think it comes from the fact that people don't understand disability, and it can be such a wide-reaching thing. There's so many different kinds of disability, but we've never really been taught that. We've never really been exposed to that.
That's the thing, I think, and also just because, and even simple things like the disabled symbol for a car park is a wheelchair. So you just automatically think, but it's such a like broad term. It doesn't actually really mean anything because it could mean so many different things, you know?
Absolutely. It's so much more than just someone in a wheelchair. You often can't see people's disabilities. So it's very important that we stigmatize, especially invisible disabilities and dynamic disabilities that change, because there's often a perception that they're not the same level of disability when they absolutely are. And, you know, this hierarchy of disability helps no one.
And what do you think, what are some invisible disabilities? Like if people listening are like have no idea what that term means, what are some examples of that?
It could be things like fibromyalgia.
Can you explain fibromyalgia just for everyone listening? Just because, what actually is it?
So basically it's I may say some of these words wrong, but musculoskeletal condition that basically causes a lot of pain throughout your body and a lot of fatigue and a lot of sickness. So for me, it's like my body is my muscles are all extremely tight all the time, and everything feels like I'm carrying a truck on my body, I guess, especially my neck. So I get a lot of migraines and can't sleep. And then, and it's fatigue that's not just being tired. It's like not being able to speak or think or listen. But I do also have, I suspect I have ME/CFS, which makes the fatigue so much worse. And then, it has a symptom called PEM, which is post-exertion malaise, which basically means anytime you exert mentally or physically, your symptoms worsen. So
how do you get diagnosed with that?
Oh, it's very hard to. There is an organisation called Emerge that is actually amazing. They provide free telehealth nurses. So if anyone's wondering, you can book a free appointment with them. And I did that, and they said, yeah, we feel like you have it.
Really?
But then they can't actually diagnose you. So it's then up to your GP. And I feel like a lot of doctors just don't want to, you know, like I had to fight so much to get any of my diagnoses. And it's hard because you need these diagnoses to access support systems.
Yeah.
But also diagnoses are so expensive. Seeing specialists are so expensive, especially when they ignore you and gaslight you, as they often do.
And have you had any positive experiences with it, like with your friendships and relationships and dating? Have there been any times when you felt really seen or really understood, and like how was that?
Times when I have felt seen.
Like in your friendships or like in your family or relationships and stuff?
I mean, honestly, a lot of it's been quite devastating because I've realised that people don't want to put in the effort to find out if, say, for example, a venue is accessible for me. So when someone does something like that for me and they like check the accessibility and whatever, that means so much to me. Because people often don't. So like that's love to me if someone like checks, oh, hey, I've checked if you can actually get here and I've contacted the venue and yes, you can, and stuff like that. That means so much. But unfortunately, a lot of people just bail when you can't do the same things. Like being chronically ill means I'm in my house most of the time and I don't have energy. I pretty much put everything into my work in advocacy, so I don't really socialize.
I guess social media must be good for that then, because like sometimes when I'm at home I'm like, I'm so bored, but then you can go on and like, do you have access to all of your friends in this big social community? Like, have you found any like sense of community with other disabled people that like live not just in Melbourne or Australia, but like around the world?
I think the disability community online actually saved my life genuinely. When I was first experiencing these pain symptoms and didn't really know what was happening, and back then I also was experiencing really bad endometriosis or adenomyosis pain, which felt kind of like someone was stabbing me in the gut with acid and like really bad. Thankfully, I'm in chemical menopause right now, so I don't have that. So when I was first experiencing all my symptoms and had no idea what was happening to me, it was a really hard place. Also with my mental health, and, you know, had doctors telling you it's all in your head, it's just your weight, you know, there's no reason, because they don't look into it and just gaslight you instantly. But it was the disabled community that responded back and said, hey, it doesn't matter if you don't know what's happening to you. You're experiencing these symptoms. That is valid in itself. And that you're allowed to call yourself disabled, even if you don't know what's going on with your body. If it's disabling you, you're disabled. And that for me was so empowering.
Yeah. And I guess even like what we're saying before about that definition of disability, which kind of makes it hard for you to identify with that if it's just such a vague like a term. And I don't remember learning about disability in school. Like I don't remember, like I just feel like the only thing I knew growing up was like you can't park in that space because someone might need it.
Yeah, or like, oh, don't talk to that person or don't look at that person. And
yeah.
That's really sad because we're just people.
Yeah.
Like just say hello.
Where are those communities online? Is it Reddit or like is it Instagram? Like where do you find the best sense of belonging and stuff online?
Well, a couple of years ago, I would say Twitter was great for disability community. Yeah. However, I'm not on Twitter anymore.
It's a dumpster fire now.
I actually can't get access to my account. So I'm like, well, that's okay. But Instagram is really, really great. I find Facebook also too sometimes. If you get in some of those groups, a lot of people support you there. But there are Reddit threads. I'm just not on them.
Yeah, fair.
I'm just too tired.
That's fair enough. And when you say you've written about sex and dating and disability, what kind of stuff have you covered in the past?
I guess not saying everything I would like to say because I had a relationship, as I mentioned, that was pretty bad. And he was like, if you say anything, I'll sue you. So for many years I was like, but I'm like, hey, if you want to admit that it's you, go ahead.
And I guess you can't, is this true? You can't get sued for defamation if it's true?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just speak your truth. And yeah, so you've written a lot about that toxic relationship and
not yet, but I have written I've written a little bit about, you know, he might not hit me, but that doesn't mean he didn't hurt me.
Okay, yeah, like emotional abuse type stuff. Okay. And how do you approach things like intimacy and sex, especially when it comes to dating with having a disability? I guess like communication must be a big part of that.
It definitely is. You need to really understand and trust someone, but especially someone that's experienced sexual assault. Unfortunately, I don't feel safe. And so for me at the moment, it's been really hard to honestly be around men. Like I was dating someone recently and they responded back a couple of messages like, sure, full stop, fine, full stop. And I was tired. My nan just died. I was like, I'm not dealing with you. And a couple of weeks later, he sent me a message that was like, funny how you never responded. Hope you have a great life, you piece of trash and something like that. I'm like, you didn't respond to me, man.
This is the crazy thing is like the communication that you're trying to have with someone who you barely know is fucking crazy in 2025. Like,
I thought he was a nice guy. And I was like, oh my God, I have very poor judgment.
Oh, yeah. See, even when I was getting ghosted this week, I was like, right, I can either message this guy or I can just leave it and take silence as my answer. And I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to be as a communicator here. I'm going to just message for closure for myself. I was like, hey, got the sense that you're not into it, so I'm just going to step away from this now. All the best. Like, and then he sent me some long thing being like, oh, blah, 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 like, me, like, you know, sorry I didn't answer. I've just been like emotionally like down, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, see,
okay, but
if you could have communicated, you couldn't have communicated that before. Like, come on, bro.
Why are you trying to date if you can't?
Yeah, I mean, but then I guess it's also a learning experience for like other people, like, because sometimes I'll be like, oh, I hate men or I hate dating or I hate this or whatever. And then I'm out going on dates because I'm like, you still have hope that like it could be fine. And then yeah, it just proves you right. And you're like, oh, I'm going to have another little break.
I know, yeah. I'm in that phase too. Like, I don't want, it's not worth the energy. Like, maybe I'll just meet someone.
Yeah.
Someone in my real life come to me.
Yeah. Or in your online community. Yeah. I feel like it's so good for that kind of thing, you know?
Anyone has a crush on me, let me know.
Yeah. Reach out. If anyone watching this has a crush, message me right now.
Tell us.
And I want to move on to your autism diagnosis. So was that something that happened later in life or is that something that you've known since you were like a child?
No, I had no idea because autism wasn't something we really spoke about, especially not for women and girls. So I didn't find out till I was 27. And then I was like, oh, yeah, should have been obvious. But, you know, we don't, oh my gosh, the like DSM and criteria for autism is so deficit-based and negative. So I never saw myself in that criteria because it tells you autism is a disorder, which is, it's just a natural part of the human experience. So I really hate that, like, language when it's just a different way of being and it's not shameful, even though people really think it is. Like, I've been told I'm autistic because of the devil. Yeah. Like, great.
Devil's not real. So
thanks, Satan.
Cheers, mate. And what was it about, you know, like where did you kind of start that thought process? Like, this is something I want to look into.
Actually, when I first started hearing about how a lot of women are late diagnosed, I was talking to one of my friends who was diagnosed in her 40s, and that made me think, oh, I actually recognize a lot of my experiences and your experiences. But I kind of didn't do anything for a long time, although I did Google meticulously, which looking back is so funny because that's like a sign of being autistic. It's like deep diving. Yes, I must know everything about this topic.
Yeah.
Typical autism.
Yeah.
But it was when I was trying to get on the NDIS that they were like, oh, yeah, let's try and get this autism diagnosis because, you know, and I'm glad they did because that's the only disability the NDIS recognizes. Even though I'm in a wheelchair, they don't think I need like a ramp to get in my house or like they don't recognize any of my other disabilities, which sucks. But I am so grateful I can get the support, but it's still like so many people don't get recognized for so many disabilities and conditions that need to be supported.
And it's interesting that you said that you kind of realized it or started investigating it because you communicated with someone else and you like identified with their experience and, you know, saw yourself in some of their struggles and stuff. And I think that's such a sad thing that, you know, you were saying that the disability community can be like a bit disconnected, like except for that online community and like, you know, it can be quite isolating and stuff. I think like, you know, if there was a space, like what would you see as being the most effective tool for connecting disabled people, like whether that's part of the internet or like how do you stay positive and like feel connected to other people?
I mean, I think online connection is very important because the reality is a lot of disabled and chronically ill people can't leave our houses much because we're tired, because the world isn't accessible, because we have to fight for access and it's just exhausting.
Yeah.
But honestly, when you can have those in-person meetings with other disabled people, that is just like the best. Like whenever you get to hang out with like a disabled, chronically ill friend, it's just like this understanding and you just, especially if you're in a room full of people that have the same experiences, it is magical. So those spaces that exist, like Disability Rights and Culture do like a Belong group in Melbourne for disabled people, which is great. Anyone in Australia, I think. So yeah, if you want to join that.
Yeah. And what kind of because obviously you work in media a lot and you do like your journalism and you're hosting a new show which we can talk about in a bit. You know, what other kind of careers are viable options for people that have disabilities? And I'm aware that that's I'm using that as a broad term, but like, you know, if someone can't get to work without having step-free access and things like that, like what other kind of things, you know, like does it really dictate what you have to do to make a living?
Oh, absolutely. Like I run my own business because even with a degree, even with a decade of professional experience, having written for all these places around the world, I still could not get an accessible, inclusive, work from home, part-time job. Like people say they want to be inclusive, but then they don't actually be inclusive. It's like you're allowed, but only if you can fit inside this tiny little box.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like not even like not virtue signaling or performative, you know, inclusivity. But there was this really interesting study because I work in media as well. When I was in London, all the big TV networks did this big diversity audit basically and like audited what, you know, like the percentage of the population versus the percentage of who is shown in advertising. And so it was kind of like they used like tokenistic thing, like disability was by far underrepresented the most. I think like compared to the actual percentage of Black people in the UK, it was like a quarter of everyone in the advertising that they audited was Black, but the actual percentage was far lower than that because they were, you know, like just using people as like a tokenistic type thing. But then like Southeast Asian minorities and like other groups were also really underrepresented because it's just like a box ticking thing for them. So it was actually a really interesting like way of looking at it. And I guess it's sort of like, you know, rather than having those, you know, minorities or ethnicities or sexualities and just diverse groups of people in, you know, these public facing campaigns, it's about thinking about the structure of like when you're hiring people and like who's behind the camera and like who's producing this and like who's actually making these decisions. Like, are you talking to disabled people? Like when you're making this kind of stuff, when you have someone in a wheelchair, like have you asked them, like, is this realistic? Like, is this something that actually, like,
making sure the actor is actually a disabled actor for one? I think that is so important.
Yeah. Is there a lot of like, is there a community for disabled actors and stuff? I guess they must just get typecast all the time for like different things when they'd have to, but like,
I think disabled actors often have to really fight for their inclusion, especially like accessibility things. Like I think I've heard Chloe Hayden talking a lot about, being autistic on set, and even my experiences being on set in the bright lights, it's so overwhelming. So like you do need adjustments, but it's hard when people see those adjustments as negative things. So I'm so glad that accessibility is becoming more of a focus, especially in the screen industry with initiatives like Bus Stop Films, for example. I think they're doing a great job. But yeah, I remember seeing a statistic, something like only 1% of representation in media are like disabled people, when we're actually 20% of the population. So it's just wild.
That's crazy. Like 20% is so much. And that's probably down, like my ignorance to that fact is down to invisible disabilities.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and you know what makes me so fuming is those TikToks where like some old Karen comes over to someone and like they're in a disabled spot and they're like, you can't park there. And it's like, lady, you have no idea who this person is.
I'm so scared of that happening, honestly.
Oh God. But like, I feel like at least like, well, not at least, but you know, if you have your wheelchair, like you're not going to be approached by someone like that. But it's like, you don't know, like this person could have just twisted their ankle or like, you know, had something like really bad happen to them. They could be in chronic pain. Like you just have no idea. Like, like, and also just keep your nose out of other people's business. Like it's so weird how people are so brave to like,
especially like if you have a permit. It's like obviously, do they know how hard it is to get a permit?
Yeah, literally. Like it's just so crazy. But like I feel like people just do that as rage bait on TikTok as well though. Like they just want you to like engage with it and, you know, be like, fuck off, Karen.
It is so annoying when people do park in disabled spots and like, oh, I'm just in here for a second. But that means like I couldn't park. And I'm like, well, I have chronic pain and I cannot walk that far. And you've taken this spot because you can't walk a few more steps.
Do people actually do that though?
Yeah.
Do they? Yeah. I feel like I just would never. It's like
all the time.
It's like how the men's bathroom is just like a place, but like I just feel like I'm not allowed to go in there. You know, like that's just to me. And like I see the park, I'm like, I'm just not allowed to. Like that's not a park to me because I'm not allowed to park there. But like people like that bold that they'll just park in and just say that's so.
And disabled bathrooms, and then when they walk out, they look so awkward. Like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Which, oh my God, it frustrates me most at like music festivals. Like once I was like dying, absolutely dying. I had like the worst bladder pain and I was like literally crying in pain, and the people in the disabled bathroom came out and there were a couple. I was like, oh, you two were banging.
Great.
While I'm dying outside and crying in pain.
What's your experience at music festivals been like? Is that really tricky?
Yeah, honestly, I battle like Good Things and Not Fest every single year trying to get them to do better accessibility, just basic things like having an accessible pickup and drop-off point. I don't understand why we can't do that basic thing, but like they're like, oh, it's just a short walk. It's not a short walk. It's a couple of kilometers.
Yeah,
like,
especially if you have a cane and you're in a wheelchair. Like,
if you're in a manual wheelchair wheeling, that's hell. And they don't have things for this, and they mess up so much, honestly. They clearly need to hire a disabled person. Thanks to my advocacy and getting them in the news about it, they have hired accessibility consultants.
That's good.
I met the accessibility consultant last year and I was like, yep, maybe we need a disabled accessibility consultant that actually knows why these decisions are bad and can tell you from experience.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh, it's exhausting.
And how do you, so like thinking about your mental health, because obviously the work you do, it's public, you know, like you're writing about your own experiences, you're doing a lot of advocacy. Like how do you make sure that your mental health, like you take care of yourself while doing all of that?
It is quite hard, and anytime I post, I am actually so nervous and so scared every time. Like I feel like I want to vomit, especially if it's something deep and personal. Just because sometimes when I have, people have responded terribly. By that I mean people in the comment section of news.com.au.
Can relate.
I wrote an article about like how I once tried to take my life and then didn't, and like my recovery and why I was glad I didn't. And the comments were like, oh, you look like a man, and like, why is this important?
Like your comments are relevant.
Mental health is more important. And I'm just like, also there is research from September that women experience mental health challenges at a higher rate. which, like, not to make it a competition, but, like, guys, if you're only talking about men's mental health to diminish women's mental health, I don't think you actually care about mental health. I think you just want to diminish women.
Yeah. What's something that people often get wrong about chronic illness? Because to me, when I hear, like, you know, someone is in chronic pain, I don't have experience of that personally. Like, obviously, like, you can empathize and you understand that it would be bad, but, like, what's something that, you know, people usually just don't get?
I think people don't understand how disabling it can be, because they think, oh, you're just a little tired, or they might be like, oh, you just stay at home and watch movies. But it's like, no, that's not it. It's like literally being so tired that I can't work out how to charge my phone. Like, that's the level of tired I get, like the level of not being able to actually function. And I think that's a perception a lot of people have. They think that, you know, we're just lazy or not trying hard enough. But, like, no, I'm, like, the most ambitious person I know. If I had energy, man, I would, like,
Yeah.
But, you know, you have to really be choosy, and it is quite devastating, I guess, to accept that your life has changed, and not everyone around you can cope with that or stick with you by that. Unfortunately, I have lost a lot of friends.
Did you have fibromyalgia when you were younger, like in school and stuff? Like, was there a time when you would have considered yourself like able-bodied? Is that the correct term to use, able-bodied?
I think non-disabled.
Non-disabled? Okay, yeah.
Just because, like, you can be disabled and still have a able body. So,
yeah, that makes sense, yeah. But, yeah, was there a time when you'd consider yourself non-disabled?
Yeah, like, I didn't call myself disabled until, like, my early mid-20s. So even though I've been autistic my whole life, so I've been disabled due to that, and also, you know, bipolar, mental health challenges, but I didn't know. It wasn't until I broke my wrist that I realized that, like, my abdominal endometriosis pain was worse than a broken bone. So I thought that was just normal, and people were like, yeah, it's normal, just take Panadol. And then I realized, oh, this pain is actually really, really bad, and I've just been like, but then it got worse, and it was, like, all the time. So
that's really fascinating about the level of pain you had versus your endo. I've heard such bad things about endo. Like, I've never experienced it. Like, I think, yeah, I've always just been on the pill since I was, like, 16, and, like, I've got long periods, but they're not, like, painful or bad or anything. So yeah, it sounds really, really rough. Would you consider that a disability?
I personally would. I know a lot of people might be like, no, but oh my God, when you're in so much pain that you can't move and you're crying on the floor, and like, it's just a 28-day period that's stabbing and destroying your insides, feeling like someone's literally shooting you in that, like, white hot shrapnel spreading throughout your abdomen. Not to mention you're tired, you're nauseous, and, like, you know, it is most of the time that you feel like that. So I would personally welcome anyone with endometriosis referring to themselves as disabled, because it's disabling.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think we should gatekeep the term when it, you know, works.
Yeah. So you do work with businesses to help them be more inclusive. What's something that you'd want to see businesses doing more of in general? Like, what do you find yourself helping them the most with? And it's kind of like not a quick fix, but just something that you're like, right, have you done this, this, and this? And then, you know, is there something that's just universal?
Well, firstly, thinking about accessibility and actually having the access information on your website. That's something that, like, pretty much no one does.
Yeah,
but if you do that,
really
someone can Google that, and then you'll come up with, like, oh, wheelchair accessible Melbourne. You'll find more customers. The disabled, I can't remember the exact statistic, but disability, we collectively have, like, trillions of dollars of spending power worldwide. So if we can't literally get in your shop or, like, access your content online because you haven't considered alt text for screen readers, like, you're missing out on a huge part of the population.
Yeah. How do screen readers work? Because I always see alt text, but, like, I've never actually seen someone using a screen reader. How would that work? Is it for blind people?
Yeah. So I don't use screen readers myself, but I do have friends who use them. And as far as I'm aware, it's just that, you know, it reads, you can't obviously see the image, so you have to have the description there, and then it reads the description out. I mean, AI does sometimes try to do it, but it's absolute gobbledygook. So
yeah,
just write your alt text and image descriptions, guys.
Yeah. So thinking about the future and stuff, and, like, you know, mental well-being and everything, what's, like, your favorite comforting thing that you do to, you know, self-soothe or, you know, find joy in? Like, how do you stay, you know, motivated to keep doing the advocacy work that you're doing?
I admit I probably do too much advocacy work, and it's literally all I do. I do it to the detriment of my health, which I tell people not to and, like, rest, but then I'm like, nah, I don't matter though. I'm trying to be better at that.
Do you have anything that like is your go-to, like something that makes you feel better, you know?
I love my sensory tools. I love like my little sensory pod, soft things, baths, watching a movie because I'm usually too tired to do anything. So watching something that's comforting. But most of all, probably my beautiful, beautiful cat.
Oh, yeah.
An absolute terror, but gorgeous.
So cute.
She's 3, so a typical 3-year-old.
And I love watching a movie. Is there any good Netflix shows or like series that you think disability is appropriately or well represented in?
On Netflix?
Or in any?
I mean, there are some things where we've had like disabled actors that are great. Like, for example, I do think Heartbreak High is a good depiction of Chloe Hayden's experiences of autism. However, that is, you know, a rather privileged white autistic woman. So a lot of people may not see their experiences in that. But I was actually watching that when I was getting diagnosed. So I actually found some of the things like, oh, I see. But, you know, that's the only show that I've watched where someone's been like, oh, it's because I'm autistic. Like lots of times we have these quirky characters that have autistic traits, but no one calls it autistic, except for in very few shows. So
yeah. What about Sex Education?
Sex Education, I forgot about that. I do like the final season with the guy in the wheelchair that can't like get up to the 3rd floor with the protesting. I think that was a really good depiction actually. But we don't really see much disability. Like I want to see a main character with disability and like side characters with disability.
And
not
it's
just
not
one.
The story's not built around their just like disability. It's just like that's part of their life, but the story is built around.
Oh, I'd love to write
other things.
a TV show.
Why don't you?
I should. I need to work out how.
Do it. I feel like just start. That's kind of like what I've been doing lately. I've been doing lots of oil painting and lots of art.
Lovely.
I know. And like I've always loved painting and drawing and like I've always been quite like naturally good at it. But like I don't know, I just lately just started doing it and now I just can't stop and I love it. And it's sort of like sometimes the hardest thing to do is just start, you know? And
very true.
What do you have coming up? So you're hosting this new show, Laneway, which is super exciting. What else is on the cards for you? And this is your chance to plug anything that you want everyone to go and check out.
I'm hoping some exciting things coming up. I think I'm actually going to be speaking at Parliament. I just don't want to say the topic just in case it's not confirmed.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that will be exciting. Good to advocate for NDIS changes and recognising MECFS, which will be very important because, you know, it's absolute trash. I'm co-hosting Laneway, which is a new Melbourne news show, and I'm really excited to be a part of that. And it's so cool. I never thought I'd be in broadcast journalism being such an anxious, awkward person, but turns out I like it and am good at it.
That's good. What's the program about? Like, what's the crux of it?
Just like news stories happening across Australia, but with this focus on Melbourne. So that's really cool to be able to interview people and like, okay, how can I get disability into the news? What are we missing in mainstream media? What are they not saying? What can I say as a result? So that's what I'm trying to do, just to and uplift as many marginalised groups as possible, not just having everyone be the most privileged and palatable of community. So
yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. Oh, well, I think what you're doing is amazing and, you know, power to you. I think like it must be tough, challenging, like battling all of that and then challenging all those stigmas and stuff as well. So thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Thank you so
and
much
hopefully,
for having me.
if everyone, if anyone wants to check you out on Instagram, it's something starting Z.
Something beginning
with Z. But yeah, thank you so much. And I'll see you guys. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all those things. Bye.